You're listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. You can follow along in your book. You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
That art contest, I won $500 in prizes.
That's great, mijo. And with the baby coming and everything, the money will come in
In
handy.
art, in essence.
Okay, hello.
Episode 2. I'm slowly bringing this song down so we don't hit the lyrics. So you hear it? That is all the master fader that I'm doing.
La Bamba and Bear vs. Shark. We're slowly defining my life.
I went and got that clip because we talked about it last week. And I was trying to think of more movie clips that defined our lives.
Oh,
as we were
God,
kids.
that's endless.
But yeah, I know. But that was the first one that I could think of.
We could probably get about an hour's worth off of UHF for sure.
Well, maybe that'll be the formula for right now. Is we'll do a movie clip into the Bear vs. Shark until somebody sues us, or I don't know what the hell's gonna happen.
That's
I think you can play movie clips. You just can't play the whole movie. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to play a movie clip. I have no idea.
All the movies we love, probably 80% of the people are dead anyway, so we're good.
Well, Lou Diamond Phillips again. See, we should say Lou Diamond Phillips at least once an episode. And Lou Diamond Phillips is live, so I don't know if he has any rights to that movie, but he might come looking for us. And as we learned last episode, that
Bob is still alive.
Real Bob is alive and probably collecting royalties from his likeliness or whatever they call it. Yeah, speaking of our childhood, okay, I got a quiz for you. Let me see how this comes out.
For me or the public?
No, for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tell me what. Let me see if we could hear this. Tell me what video game. I shouldn't even told you video. Well, you're gonna know it's a video game.
I'm gonna get it. You know I'm gonna get it.
You're gonna know. You're gonna get this.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, ready? See how quick you can get it. This is the selection screen. Come on, tell me you don't remember this. Keep thinking. It's gonna keep going.
The first thing that popped in my head was that cheesy wrestling game where you pick.
This is about to go into the screen.
Oh, Micro Machines. Hell yeah.
Dude, Micro Machines was the greatest game ever, and I was thinking back on our childhood before, and me and you didn't play video games a lot. You weren't a big video game guy.
No, Nintendo.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, right. But we used to play. I mean, I guess even until we were teenagers and shit, we would
still play Nintendo,
smoke a joint and play Micro Machines. And I was looking for it, and I heard those sounds. And two things: one, I was shot right back to WoW, and then two, I was like, "Fuck, I gotta find and play Micro Machines." That might be the best. Might be the best video game ever made, but definitely the best racing game ever made.
I actually looked for it once because I still had Nintendo, and I looked for Micro Machines, and it was like $80, and I was like, "Fuck that shit!" You know what I mean? I'm not gonna spend $80 on Micro Machines, but I wish I did.
You don't have it? I think I might have it.
What, Nintendo or Micro Machines itself?
Both, but I think I have Micro Machines.
That'd be awesome.
Did I end up with your Nintendo tapes?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I remember Micro Machines was like a gold tape.
Yeah, right. Oh, was it? Yeah, because that's one of the ones that had memory in it, like Zelda or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Anyway, that was Micro Machines. So I just wanted to know.
Those boards were awesome. With the breakfast table and the pool table.
And
there was something like mechanic, like something with oil spills.
Oh, yeah, and you would get all slow in that. No, the breakfast table is when you would get all slow with
the milk.
The milk, yeah.
Or yeah, you got slow in the oil slicks.
Or what I always call molasses. I call everything molasses in video games, even though they've never once used molasses, like in Toe Jam and Earl when they have the quicksand.
Oh my God, Toe Jam and Earl.
That's not a memory for me because I will still play that regularly.
You still have that?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah,
I would love to play Toe Jam and Earl. I'll never beat that game.
Yeah, you can beat it.
I can't.
It's just different every time. I've beaten it because at the end, then what you do is you just walk around your home area, not Funkatron. Yeah, was it Funkatron?
It was Funkatron.
And everything's all purple and like weird looking, and then you just walk by and people are like, "Hi, what's up?"
I thought the ending board was the same as when you fall off the first board and end up in that hot tub with the two chicks and you're tittering and chattering.
Oh, no, the secret board.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
You're just in a hot tub and like you're just hanging out with Earl, and there's like a hot tub and a porta potty, and you just walk around. I think there's nothing on it except that. But that game was awesome.
Yeah,
I love Toe Jam and Earl.
I didn't mean to talk video games. I just wanted to see if you remembered that since we've been talking about our childhood together. That was a big part of it. So we're in your room today doing this.
Yeah.
It's
a little room
in your apartment in New Jersey. It's nice. First time I've ever been in here.
It's all right for the time being.
You got some of your artwork on the walls.
Yeah. Look, I got the McGillicuddy sign.
Oh, yeah, the
You remember that story, right?
Yeah, so so for people listening at home, when we were in the band and we were on the road, where were we? What state were we in?
That was Melbourne, Florida.
We were in Melbourne, Florida, apparently, and we were playing was that when we played in that movie theater?
Yeah, it was like that old school movie theater with like 100 bands. And we were set up all throughout the theater. And bands were playing at the same time, but there was so many bands that, there was millions of kids there. That's
oh
part of
yeah, I
the reason
remember
why
that.
I
So
got
it was actually pretty cool. And I don't know if anybody in Florida is going to listen to this or remember this place. I don't even know if they did that regularly there. That might have been like a one-off, but it was like an old movie theater that wasn't being used for movies anymore. It was like a multiplex. Like you would see, like you would go in, and then
It was a cool setup, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because what they did is they had shows going on in each of the theaters.
Yeah.
So you could literally
but there was no seats. It was all wide. They took all the seats out, I guess, and it was all wide open. In every room. And I guess they put a bar in there where the concessions used to be.
Right. So you would basically buy a ticket, and then you could go in and go into any show, and there were shows going on at the same time. So like while we were playing, there was like 3 other bands playing in different rooms that would have movie theater rooms or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
So so you stole this shit, huh?
Yeah, there was so many kids at the show. I mean, we decided the second we walked in that we were taking that thing. We set our merch table up right in front of it, and we were like, the second the show's over, we're taking it because it says McGillicuddy's on it, and like who in their life has not used the term McGillicuddy? Whether you're talking about a girl with big tits or like someone
I was
you
gonna
hate.
say tits and McGillicuddy.
Yeah, somebody's always a McGillicuddy in one way or another.
Wait, are there more McGillicuddies than just the only time I've ever heard it was tits McGillicuddy?
There's a tits McGillicuddy, but I mean, I don't know any McGillicuddies offhand, but
I don't think there's an ass McGillicuddy. Like no one says there's an ass McGillicuddy.
Nah, that doesn't sound right. But
chicks don't look at dudes and be like, "That's a dick McGillicuddy."
Maybe they do.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't run in those circles.
But there's McGillicuddies out there. It's a common thing. Everyone says it, but we wanted that the second we saw it, so we set our merch table up right in front of it.
I think you wanted it because it never came. It never came home with the. I don't think it was a band decision to swipe something. We weren't. Just so people at home know this, we weren't like a band of thieves that went around stealing things.
It was a special case. With
I think we stole 2 things in our whole career as a band. One being the McGillicuddy mirror sign thing that we're looking at here. Which is nice, by the way. McGillicuddy menthol mint schnapps is the thing.
Yeah, the doctor. It's actually getting pretty. They have that shit on tap at bars now.
Schnapps on tap?
Yeah, I see. It's like chilled, and it's like this, they do the same thing with that they do at Jaeger.
Oh, Jägermeister.
Yeah, it's a digestif.
I couldn't tell you. The last time I drank schnapps, I had to be 13 years old. Like who drinks schnapps in real life?
Like blackberry or peach. That's nasty.
Yeah.
But, the name is cool.
So then we stole that, and then we stole the
Miller Lite cart.
Yes, the Miller Lite
That
cart.
was kind of awesome.
Right.
That was the way we snuck into, we didn't sneak in because we were playing. But
I was gonna say.
It was the way because they ran out of like setups for the merch tables, I guess. Is that what happened? Why did we take that thing?
I think we just wanted it for our own merch table, so like a mobile merch table for other shows.
Yeah.
So So basically, what we're talking about is the like if you go someplace and they'll have like the mobile beer set up. So it's just basically a big ass cooler of beer, and then and then you just go there and it's just filled with ice and there's beer in there and you just give them like they would have outside of concerts or like ball games or something like that. And it said Miller Lite and it's on wheels. And it's like, the size of it. It's pretty deep. It's like a really big cooler or whatever. So I don't know. I guess we thought we would take it and and bring it home, and then we would put our merch all in it, and then just roll it all into, put a Grillers.
It worked really good,
which is
too.
the name of our band. But did we ever even use it? The only thing I remember,
We used it at the Skate and Surf. We got in, we went on the elevator. We brought it up through the elevator, and we just wheeled it over. And I remember we sat right up next to Equal Vision because I remember.
Oh, see, we were next to Equal Vision, so Equal Vision, please don't sue us for that.
Yeah. Damn. But yeah,
maybe they hated us. Maybe
I remember me and Mark. Mark had some weed like he always did because he's a hippie.
Mark was our bass player who now resides where? Like
in the trees in North Carolina.
I think he's in Asheville. I think he's a little bit more. I don't know if he's living in a tent or whatever, but he
lives off the fat of the land.
Yeah, he was
big time hippie.
Yeah, he was a big hippie.
Yeah,
so he had weed.
But yeah, he had weed, and we smoked with Jake, the keyboard player from Motion City Soundtrack, underneath the Equal Vision table, because I remember we had that Miller Lite banner, our banner, so we put it over us and we just puffed underneath it like in the middle of the hallway at Convention Hall. It was pretty awesome.
At Convention Hall in Asbury Park, which is a pretty big venue if you're not from New Jersey. It was cool. It was, and I don't know if people listen to this are familiar with the Skate and Surf series, and then it turned into
Bamboozle, yeah.
And then I think it went back to Skate and Surf. They did a Skate and Surf.
I think for like 1 year,
yeah,
or something. I don't even know what they do anymore.
When we were an active band, we played a few of those, which was pretty cool.
But back to McGillicuddy, because the way we swiped it was so sweet.
Sorry.
Because we planned on taking it at the end of the show, and everyone was packing up, nonchalant. Because usually those things are screwed right into the wall. You know what I mean? There's no taking it out. And me and Tom peeked behind it, and it's just like hanging on a thumbtack. And I was like, "That's mine." So the place was so huge, and there was so many bands playing. It got to the point where we filled the capacity limit. Right? That's why they pulled the fire alarm, because we filled the capacity limit. Because someone pulled the fire alarm, and everyone got the boot.
Yeah, see,
remember that?
Again, you have such a better memory of anything than I do. I do not remember this at all.
Well,
I'm surprised I remember the movie theater.
What I'm remembering is there was too many kids. They pulled the fire alarm, and me and Tom looked right at each other, and we both just snagged it off the wall and put it on our wheelie, probably on the Miller Lite card. We put it on something with wheels, probably an amp or something. Just covered it up, wheeled that baby out. And I've been nurturing her ever since.
And she's here now. How many years? 10 years later, I guess.
Yeah, 11.
11 years later,
yeah.
McGillicuddy lives and is on your wall.
But it's cool because it's like, it's the mirror, typical bar nostalgia, Dr. McGillicuddy schnapps, but then it has his last will and testament on there, which could actually be his last will because it's pretty cool. It's like from the 1800s, and he leaves his son, his recipe for his sweet schnapps and his favorite dueling pistol.
Oh shit!
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
I wonder if that's. I wonder if his son used that dueling pistol in order to get the schnapps into all the bars, and now that's the reason that it's chilled. Like you go into a bar and you're like, and they're like, you should try the McGillicuddies. We got it on ice. And you're like, why do you have McGillicuddy on ice? And they're like, I don't want to get that dueling pistol.
Yeah, he whipped out the dueling pistol, told them he was going to put them on ice for a while, and they got the wrong idea. And put the schnapps on ice.
I wonder if there's still a McGillicuddy family. And if there is there any women in the McGillicuddy family that have big tits?
Oh, my God.
Is that where it came from? Because I've heard other people use that term. You used to use it all the time.
Yeah.
But I've heard people like Jim Norton or somebody like that, like famous comedian Jim Norton or whatever, use that term before. So it's like I didn't know that it was like a real thing.
And there's a lot of variations to it, too, because some people use McGee. I've heard Tits McGee.
Yeah, right.
There's Tits McGillicuddy. I think there's another one too, but it's always an Irish. It's always a Mick. I guess they usually have the tits or something. I don't know, but it's usually Tits McGee or Tits McGillicuddy or Tits Muldoon. I've heard before. I think that was actually someone named Muldoon. So she was.
I think you heard that coming out of your mouth.
I think it was a girl named Muldoon. So. She was automatically Tits Muldoon due to her tits.
All right, good opening there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about tits for a while.
No doubt.
And this thing that we stole, how we were stealing things as a band.
Yep.
Which again, I don't want people to think that we were going around stealing things. What if we played someplace and then something went missing and there's like a mystery out there and now all of a sudden they're like, haha, that's where it went.
Right? They're probably still looking for McGillicuddy. That's a fine quality item right there.
So unless you're a movie theater in Melbourne, Florida, missing your McGillicuddy, or you're the convention hall in Asbury Park,
bartender.
missing a Miller Lite cooler. None of the rest was our fault. Those we'll own up to.
We got robbed. Remember when we got robbed? We got robbed in New York. We got our band fund robbed.
Oh, we got our band fund robbed.
Yeah.
Yep. All of, I mean, there's probably only like $500.
Yeah, a couple bucks. Yeah, but
yeah,
still,
no, it sucked.
I don't know who was working the merch that day. Probably nobody. It was probably just sitting there and someone saw the box.
We were trusting. There was probably 10 people at the show, so we didn't think anything was going to happen.
Yeah, it was a small show. It was at the Cine Club in downtown New York. I remember it all, baby.
Yeah, you do. That's why it's nice hanging out with you again, because I'm getting all these memories like it was yesterday. I don't, I kind of remember these things, but I couldn't ever tell you. And it's weird living, living and working in the city for the last 5 years or whatever. Like, I would go into these clubs sometimes, and I would look around, and I'd be like, I think I played here, but I had no, you have no idea. And then everything changes names so quick and everything like that you really don't have any idea if you've been, or even if you've been there for a show. I always got like the Roseland and what's the other big one? The
Irving Plaza,
maybe. I always got those confused.
I always got Irving Plaza and Wetlands confused for some reason.
The Wetlands are the only one that I remember when that hasn't been around in forever.
Yeah.
But I remember it because of those propaganda shows.
Right.
And that was the club that was like literally right when you came out of the tunnel. You came out of the tunnel and you made a left, and it was like right there. So it wasn't like in the city.
That I do not remember.
Yeah.
But I also can't remember, what was the club where the lady stole my fake ID?
That was the Wetlands.
That was the Wetlands. Okay.
Because you weren't 21 yet. It was the propaganda was touring for Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes.
Really? And I wasn't 21 yet?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that album came out in 99 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
I'd
I
have to
consider
look
that one
up.
of their like later albums too, I guess
Yeah.
that was a while ago.
But
yeah, that was totally my fault because I when you walk in, it's just like, this woman sitting at a table, her nickname was probably like Mom,
like she was the matriarch of the bar, you know what I mean? Like everybody looked up to her like, that's just Mom.
And behind her is her like wall of like defeat where she stole everyone's fake IDs, and it's a big sign saying don't even try it, with at least 100 fake IDs glued to the wall. And I was like, let me try using my fake ID that says it's already expired, and that I'm like Dr. Patel from India. It was a pretty good fake ID, but it had its flaws, but it didn't take this lady 3 seconds. She just looked at it and said, "This is a fake ID," and crushed it right in front of me. It turned to dust in her hand. She just knew it would snap.
Oh, you know what? Check this out. Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes, which is a great album. If anybody out there hasn't listened to it, by a band called Propaganda, who, if you're listening to this, you don't know what Propaganda is, you're nuts. But it came out February 6th, 2001. Which means you didn't turn 21 until July of 2001.
Yeah, another 5 months.
So they literally were like touring this thing. We must have seen them like the day this came out or something like that. Because I remember I was 20. Yeah, it makes sense because I was already 21. You were the last one who wasn't 21, and my birthday. Not that this is interesting to anybody, but mine's in February, so I would have turned 21 in February 2001.
Yeah, like everyone was 21 except me, I remember.
Right. And it wasn't a 21 and over show, it was an 18 and over show, but 21 to drink, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So that was your thing. Yeah, I remember that, and she was like, this is a fake ID, and just like crushed it in front of you.
Yeah. She's like, you can have it back, but you can't come in. I was like, lady, why would I want that back? It's, a pile of dust.
Mom's got you. Old Mom's Wetlands.
Mom got me. She did.
She
I'm probably on that wall of defeat right now.
Where did you get that fake ID? I never had. I don't know if I'm not rebel enough, but I never had a fake ID when I was a kid.
It was a friend of mine had gotten the machine, I guess either that laminates or makes the IDs from someone that actually worked at DMV at the time. And it was before the New Jersey licenses where they are now, like, the holograms. There was a hologram, but, it was those old, like, white, red, blue licenses, where you could go in, like, with someone's birth certificate and get a dupe, And
there wasn't, like, all these markers and everything on it.
Yeah, it was like those old school ones. And he had the machine, so, he just took my picture. I think he charged me $200. I gave him $100 up front. He took my picture in front of, like, a blue rag or some shit. And he made me the ID, and it looked great. But the idiot, he put in the expiration date, put an expired date. So some people wouldn't take it. But all the bars around here took it. You know what I mean? Like all the hazard bars took it. I never had a problem in Jersey. But once I met Mom,
screwed it all up.
Yeah, Mom and her good eye.
I wish you still had that just so we could see what it looks like. Like I want to, as now in my 30s, to look at what a 20-year-old or 19-year-old thought a good fake ID looked like. You know what I mean? Because it's not like this guy was like, you got it from, was like some professional dude. He was just like another dude, like just taking a picture in front of a sheet and shit.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, he did not get that second $100 due to the expiration date.
Kids now are fucked. I mean, you can't. There can't possibly be a thing as.
I heard someone faking those, but I never saw one. But I heard about it.
Although, yeah, I guess.
I doubt it looks good. I mean,
but you know what? I'm guessing this. I have no proof in this or whatsoever. But maybe even though the technology of the license has gone so much, it's become so more advanced. But also technology is easier to access, and so there's probably some computer kid out there.
Yeah, and kids are getting smarter and smarter on computers. So if some old guy could figure that out on a computer, I'm sure a kid learning computers can do the same thing.
And it's not like fucking money where they're. I mean, yeah, they don't want fake license, but they're not going to be spending all the money in the world in order to like make it so they can't be fake like they do, with actual currency. So I guess it'd be interesting to know. Yeah, I don't know. I wish we were young enough still that a fake license would be
We
worth
should just
it.
become bouncers at a bar and see what's up.
That might be...
That's your calling.
Normally I would laugh at that, but that sounded pretty good right now.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, whatever.
Free booze, free entertainment.
A friend of ours I'm not going to say his name, but a friend of ours...
using code names.
I'm not even going to use names whatsoever.
Not even a code?
No.
Damn.
A friend of ours is working as... He's a musician. He's a guitar player, and he went out to the West Coast to follow his dreams. Or
I
whatever.
know who you're talking about.
And I hope you do. I just don't want to say his name on. I think it's not bad, but whatever. I just don't want to use names.
Does his name go by 3 letters? Like if you were going to call him by his name, would
his
you
first name?
Does he have a 3-word name?
His first name or his last name?
Like if you were going to talk about him to me, would it be three names?
No.
Okay, so it's not who I'm thinking of.
No,
because you would know him instantly who I'm talking about.
He used to live on my parents' street. At the end.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was actually talking about him today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Oh, that's a great story. I got to tell you why I was talking about him today.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna ramble a little bit here.
Yeah, let's just ramble. We'll get back.
Second
to
episode. I do want to get in. I do want to get into the lineage, the storyline of all this, but anyway, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but I found out through his ex-girlfriend that he's this is the way I found out. Like she was like talking about him, and she's like, whatever. He's just working as a bouncer anyway. And I mean, I guess 36.
He's a bouncer?
Yeah, I know.
Would he start taking roids?
I know it doesn't make that much sense. I think she means by a bouncer, she means like the dude who takes your ID at the door or something like that. But she made it seem like it was such like
the coat check guy.
She made it seem like it was such like a bad thing, you know what I mean? Like whatever, he's just a bouncer.
But does he still play?
That's the thing. I think he's still.
Yeah, it's a job that allows you to still play.
Yeah, right.
And be in the scene.
Right, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
I just when people are like he's just actually I was hanging out with an ex of mine last week actually.
Code names.
Yes, again code names, especially this one. I'm never bringing her name up in the air.
Okay.
The most recent ex.
Gotcha.
And she was talking about somebody that we went to high school with who is a bartender at a bar around here.
There's a couple of those.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That we graduated with or went to high school? We
graduated with, yeah.
In our class?
Yes, in our class. Yes.
Okay.
I know this is not interesting. Okay,
we're narrowing it down now.
This is not interesting for anybody listening to this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna zoom past this real quick. But anyway, it's just the reason I'm bringing it up is it's the same thing. She was like, well, I don't understand why he's still just a bartender.
Bartenders make mad money.
And also, what if he's fucking happy?
Yeah.
My thing is, and I might be saying this because I'm recently unemployed and I try to do entertainment stuff like with the stand up comedy and this podcast and the music and everything like that, and really don't have any desire to have like an office job, even if it was well paying or anything like that, although I might be forced into one of those sooner or later. But I don't get when anybody says that somebody just does something. You know what I mean? And I might have been like that earlier in my life.
People are so judgmental of other people. It makes themselves feel better. All that crap. All that psychological crap.
No,
you know
I
what
know.
mean? But it is true. You know what I mean? People love to put people down to justify what they're doing to make themselves feel like they're so damn successful or whatever. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Like this ex of mine, I mean, she's an admin assistant, granted in the city, but you know, I know what you mean. She'll make a lot of money. You know what I mean? And
That's like almost still entry level.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. So for you to sit there and be like, and he's still just a bartender. Well, maybe he enjoys being a bartender. You know what I mean?
And if what she's talking about is how much money he makes, they have good nights, bartenders.
Yeah, totally. No.
All
right. So anyway, I need to get through it. Whatever. What were you gonna say?
I just want to tell you a real quick story about that person. Well,
don't tell me. Tell the audience.
Yeah. Well, this isn't that interesting either. But it was why it's weird that his name was brought up twice in one day, and
Okay.
That's
Our
quite
friend on
odd.
our friend on the left coast.
Yeah.
Our musician friend on the left coast.
Yep.
Who, if you're listening to this, and I'm sure you figured out who you are by now, we love you, and we there's no judgments. Bounce it up as long as you're still playing guitar. That's all that matters.
And I don't know what you did with your tour bus, but I wish you gave it to us because that thing was sweet.
I don't remember a tour bus
For his old band, his bus, that thing was awesome. Remember we took it to the hotel party?
Okay.
You
Now
don't
we're getting
remember that.
we're way specific.
How are you not remember? This is like good stuff. Like that was a great night. That was an awesome night.
All right, tell your story.
Oh man, I could talk about that night for an hour. But anyway, so that dude that's going to remain nameless that lived on Devin Street and is a bouncer now, and he went to high school with, and he would come see our band play, even though our style of music wasn't his cup of tea. He would still come see our band play. And we spent all day hanging out with him before our show, drinking, hanging, boozing, smoking, all that stuff, So
I think they get it.
When I was younger and we were in the band, I had a tendency to take a little overboard with the drink, as many people do. But, I was the drummer and, it was kind of, I guess, important for me not to get a little too drunk because,
Yeah, you think?
Keeping time while you're drunk doesn't really go hand in hand,
I think the two people in the band who can't get the most drunk are the drummer and the soundboard mixer. That's it. You're literally the one guy that can't.
But, I didn't follow those rules. But anyway, we were playing a show with the Saint, and we got annihilated. I think we had like a great idea to be like, oh, we haven't had 40s in years. Let's get some Saint Ides and down them. So we ended up drinking like a couple of 40s a piece before the show, like starting at noon. We were grilling and stuff, And
the Saint, by the way, is a really cool club in Asbury Park.
Yeah,
New Jersey. They're still around, right?
Yeah, it's still there. Small little hole in the wall, but
Yeah.
they see great bands. You know what I mean? And
And a lot of bands have like on their way up have played there. It's a really cool place.
Yeah, and that's where we played with. Gigi was dead, unfortunately, because I would have loved to have met that psychopath.
But
that's where we played with the Murder Junkies.
Murder Junkies,
Yeah, it
right,
might have been that same night. But we were playing a show there that night because I remember the drummer wanted to use my drum seat, and the drummer plays naked, and I was like, "That ass is not touching my drum seat."
Oh yeah,
Dino, he thinks being naked is him playing the drums naked is often requested. Highly doubt it, Dino. Highly doubt it. But yeah. So anyway, dude down the block, lots of 40s, show with the Saint, and I got annihilated. And, they carried me on stage pretty much, like in a wheelchair, dumped me in front of my drums.
I think I do remember this.
We played the show. Show was over. Fell off the drum seat.
Show wasn't very good. I'm
rolled
sure.
off stage. No, quite the contrary. It was
You
one
don't
of
know.
our.
You were fucked up.
Well, I'm going by the nameless neighbor down the street,
Okay.
who's a very good musician and wouldn't hesitate to judge. Said that it was amazing how we got so annihilated, and then it was like a switch. You know what I mean? We, annihilated, dumped me in front of the drums. Switch goes on. He said, played the entire show. Everything was wild, crazy, good. And then as soon as the last song ended, fell off drum seat, puked, rolled, carried me. threw me in the van, took me to the hospital or something.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna.
But he was just so astounded that could happen. Like, how does that happen? You know,
I'm going to agree with him because that's one of the reasons I'm comfortable doing this podcast with you. Is because no matter how fucked up you are when I show up, I know when I hit record, all of a sudden
it's time for business.
Which I'm kind of disappointed in it a little bit.
Why? Because I could always get more fucked up if you want. I get fucked up right now.
Not yet. We're gonna get into all of that later on. I fully expect there to be shows where shit just goes sour. But right now, I'm enjoying. That's why I don't mind just riffing like this in our second episode, even though I kind of want to stay online. Is because I'm enjoying our banter together that we haven't had in forever. But I do want to say that I kind of remember that show, and so for the people at home in this band. And
that was when we used to cover Jenny from the Block.
Okay, I don't remember that either.
I wish I hadn't told you that. You don't remember that? Theives used to scream the Bronx.
I don't remember that at all.
He just wanted to scream the Bronx.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But apparently, so in this band, I was the guitar player and singer. There was 2 guitar players, 2 singers, whatever. But I'm not gonna say I was the lead singer, but I was in the middle. So I was, if you're going to look at your regular band formation, I was the guy in the middle of the stage standing directly in front of the drums.
Yep.
And I remember, I think it's this show. I mean, you were fucked up a lot of shows.
The Saint show?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was a break in between, not even a break in between songs. Like there was a little like guitar break in the song.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
And I turned around and looked at you, and you were literally sleeping on the hi-hats. And I knew, and the funniest part about it,
you know why I do that though, right?
No, and I'm going to say that the funniest part about it is I knew why you were doing it, and it's the same reason that you would fall asleep on the bathroom floor when you're really drunk is because it's cold and comfortable.
It is so cold.
So you were in the maybe like 4-bar break of whatever was going on, like a build or something like that.
Taking a quick snooze.
You were snoozing on your hi-hats, and then I was about to hit your like cymbal with my guitar headstock to be like, "Yo, wake up!" The song's about to come in, but you just like popped right back up and
business
got right
time.
back. Yeah. So I guess you're right.
But yeah, I know drummers out there know what I'm talking about, especially the heavier, drummers that really, give their life on stage.
Wait, do you mean heavier as in the music's heavier or fat drummers?
Fat drummers, I guess both, because I'm sure fat drummers get really hot when they play. But, heavier music, heavier people, faster music. You get hot. It gets really hot up there. You're getting sweaty. So the hi-hats, you could always count on them to be it's like flipping the pillow over. You know what I mean?
Oh, that is nice.
You could always count on them being nice and cool. You just rest your face on it. Takes the body temp down, and then the 4 bars are over, and you got to sit back up again.
Well, see, the reason I was worried is because every time that I've ever been so fucked up that I ended up sleeping on the bathroom floor, I didn't get back up. You know what I mean? Like you hit that coldness, and then
if you're on the bathroom floor, you're fucking wrecked.
Although it would have, I know I shouldn't say all the times, the few times, I guess. It would have been funny though, looking back at it in hindsight, if like we went into this big build, like ching 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 ching, ching
and I stayed asleep,
and you stayed asleep, and then it just went nowhere. That would have been pretty cool.
Nah, man, I always knew what time it was.
I'll give you that, Richard. You were a professional when it comes to doing things fucked up.
Thank you.
And I guess that's what our down the street bouncer friend was trying to say.
That's exactly what he was trying to say.
So we've done a half hour of this already.
Yeah. Rambling.
It's
fun rambling.
No, definitely. So last time we did this, we were talking about meeting each other in elementary school, and then I wanted to talk about. I didn't think we would get here so quick, but was there anything really significant? I want to talk about that bike accident.
Yeah, let's talk about it because it was crazy.
Not because it's not because it doesn't really have much to do with us as friends or our relationship. But it was a pretty crazy story, at least. And like I said before, like I really think that like later on in life, in my 20s and stuff like that, like I had like pretty severe anxiety problems. And I'm not saying that to be like to try to like act like, oh, woe is me or whatever, and there's a lot of people out there with anxiety problems and stuff like that. But I would have like
you want some Xanax?
I wouldn't. No, I don't.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm good. I want and like I would have panic attacks and weird shit going on in my head, like to the point where I thought like I was having like a stroke and shit like that.
Could be because that bike accident, man. That was some serious shit.
So all right, so let me set up. So anyway, now at this point we're in what, 6th grade, 7th grade?
That was 7th grade, yeah.
7th grade. And in New Jersey, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, because I know some places like elementary school goes to 6th or 7th and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, in our...
At the time, it was 6th, 7th, and 8th was considered middle school.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And I know they call that something different, but it doesn't matter. So we're in middle school now, and we're at our middle school. And there was like a soccer game going on or something like that.
Something.
It was after school.
Yeah.
And I was I consider myself to be a BMXer, I suppose.
It's a dying breed right now, man.
I know.
Everyone rides those Debo bikes now. I have not seen like a Mongoose or a Haro or a GT Performer since those days.
BMX is still my favorite thing out of skateboarding and snowboarding and all that shit. Like on Instagram, I subscribe to like different BMX Instagrams that just put BMX videos up all the time.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I sit there and watch them. Anyway, so I consider myself to be like a BMX dude. And I don't know, was there girls there? Like, who did I want to impress, or did I just want to show that I could do
Nobody.
this?
Yeah,
right.
you just wanted to do it. You were like really determined.
So there's like
the goal.
There was this like I guess basically what it was like there was probably some sort of fucking pipe or something.
Yeah, it was a pit to access like water turn-ons or something like
water.
that.
I like that. You said water like you're from Philly.
No, that'd be water.
No, water.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
There's water down there.
I'm adapting.
And yeah, so and then they built like a concrete enclosure around it, and it was topped off. So it was probably about, I don't know, 4 feet in the air.
Yeah, about 4 feet.
But the actual top half of it was, I mean, if it was 4 feet by 4 feet, like the actual surface of it, you know, like I don't even know if it was that much. So in my head,
So you were probably 8 feet. Your head was probably 8 to 10 feet above the ground, being on the bike, right?
yeah. So this is what I'll tell you what I remember. So I remember I was on top of there, and in my fucking shit brain, I thought what I thought was going to happen was I was going to bunny hop off of there, and then I was just going to...
With no speed.
And yeah,
Just straight
which
bunny.
was cool. I think at that point I could do like a standing bunny hop, but yeah, right, exactly.
There was no going forward.
There was no going forward,
Yeah.
right? So in my mind, I thought that I was just gonna bunny hop off of there, and then like move forward, and then the bunny hop would land on the fucking concrete, and then everybody would start high fiving and throw me on their fucking shoulders, and that would be like the legend of the school. And that's not what if you're following this story right now. I guess you're guessing already that that's not what happened. Basically, what happened was
Wait, do you remember that old man rooting you on? And he knew disaster was going to strike, and he was like, "Do it, man, do it." He like wanted to see some injuries.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to tell more of the story, because I'm literally getting.
I kind of missed it though. I was like, I don't know. I was somewhere in front of the school talking to somebody at the time, and I kind of caught like the ass end of the destruction. But I remember the old man like rooting you on for disaster, but I could see he kind of knew that it wasn't going to go so good.
So who was this old man rooting a child on to get hurt?
I know who it was, but I don't want to say names. It was someone's father.
Okay, right. And you know what? Now that you said it makes
You
total
know who
sense.
it is?
Yeah, and this dude was a dick. But,
You knew him?
what?
You knew him?
Oh no, it wasn't the father you're talking about. I thought it was. Well, I'm just gonna say Momo.
No, it wasn't Mo.
Okay.
It wasn't Mo. No, Mo was there for the aftermath. I think he
right.
tried to steal your bike, thinking that we'd get lost in all the chaos and he can make off with a Diamondback tail whip.
That tail whip was fucking sweet. I
Oh,
wish I
that's
still
sweet
had
bike.
that. Anyway, so
Who
okay.
pays $300 for a bike with no kickstand?
So I went and I didn't even get to, and this is the last thing I remember, I didn't even get to pull the front handlebars up. Like, there was no semblance of a bunny hop whatsoever. I literally took 2 pedals, the front fucking wheel went over the thing, and I just went straight
eating
down.
Shit.
No fucking hands to break the fall or anything. And I know this later because I ended up looking like fucking Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh man, you were so fucked up.
But I literally landed all my fall from like at that, whatever we said, 4 or 5 feet down, plus the momentum of the bike, and then the bike on top of me and everything.
Straight on his face, right on his eye.
Straight on the left side of my face. And then that was it for me.
You don't remember after that,
yeah,
right?
so basically what happened...
I'll take it from there.
No, I
This is
know.
funny.
So basically what happened was this. So I hit fucking down.
Mo steals your bike.
It was literally like in a movie. Is the best way I could describe it is I was going down and then like the blackness, and then slowly my eyes opened and I was in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
That long? Because there was a while.
Yeah, I
where you were
know,
not.
I know. So go ahead, you can tell.
So Mo steals your bike. He's like, going to get help, Mo. And he just takes off
Okay,
on your bike.
Mo is not this dude's name or anything, but Mo is a father of a.
He just loved to say Mo.
Yeah.
So he's the Mo.
And he was a maniac.
Yeah, going to get help, Mo. So he was out and he stole a bike, your bike. And you're laying there hurt. So that's when I was like, holy shit. So I came over there and I helped you up and I was like, all right, I guess Mo's gonna get the ambulance here. So we gotta do something in the meantime. So you were so disoriented, you didn't know what was going on. You were rambling some random shit that I don't remember. But we went into the school and I was like, I gotta get him like an ice pack or something, get him some ice. So the whole time you're like,
So wait, was I like up and walking, or was I just laying dead on the floor?
I mean, you were laid there dead for a second, yeah. But then you were up and walking, and you were just like holding the side of your face, So I was like, I gotta get him something. See if the nurse is there or something. So we walk into the front of the school. I'm like, come with me. And you're like, where are we going? You know what I mean? Saying some weird shit. You didn't know where you were. So we went to the nurse's office, and I remember, every school has those like blue ice packs that they give you. Like, you just go to the nurse, you fake something.
Yeah,
they give you a lozenge and an ice pack.
The gel ice pack.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, I got the shit. So like, here's a lozenge and an ice pack. So I knew they had them. You know what I mean? So we went to the nurse's office, and they kept fucking roids or ketamine in the fridge. There was a lock on it with a padlock. I was like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? So, Dev's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? He didn't know what was going on. But I broke the lock, and he's like, you're stealing from the school. I was like, it's all good, man. If they knew the destruction, they'll let me take an ice pack. But it was just so funny the way it happened.
So I was just out of it, but
Yeah.
yet still worried that you were stealing school property.
See, so we're not kleptos. You were worried about an ice pack. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I still feel like we owe Union Ave Middle School one ice pack for that.
yeah, and a master lock.
I guess there's no way to really explain it, and probably explaining the story, it didn't seem that bad. I wish I could find pictures. If I could find a picture, I'll put it up on the website with this episode so people could see how fucked up
Yeah, your
my
seventh
face
grade
was.
class picture. I mean, it's not. It was kind of down the road a little bit, but you're still kind of fucked up in your seventh grade class picture. Yeah. It's it's still a little. It's
And
not you. That's for sure.
I remember this. So that was around the time where I was like hooking up with this girl or whatever. Do you remember that chick? Nicole. We can just say her first
Oh
name.
yeah,
Nicole,
yeah. She was hot too.
Yeah, and I was like super stoked that I was hooking up with her.
2 days later,
That happened, and this is what happened. I was like out for the count for a few days, and then one day I'm just fucking
Mo stole his bike. Yeah, nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, seriously. And one day I'm laying on the couch, fucking watching Power Rangers, eating Teddy Grahams and shit with an ice pack on my fucking head, and the fucking doorbell rings. That's a lie because my parents never had
Yeah,
a fucking my parents are not wealthy enough to have a doorbell installed. So
She knocked on the screen door and it
there was
opened by itself.
there was a knock on the door. And my mom was like, oh, somebody's here to see you. And I thought it was going to be like one of the neighborhood kids or whatever. And I went to the door and I opened it up, and it was this girl, Nicole, who was super hot. And I was lucky enough to have hooked up with
Yeah,
at
she
the
was
time.
like a sex pot. Like, you know what I mean? 12 years old, but Jesus.
12? Were we 12?
We were 12.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to the door and I literally saw her. Like, I opened the door and I literally saw it in her face where she was like, oh.
You looked at her with the good eye.
Yeah, and she like literally like was coming. I guess she was coming. I don't know.
She had to have known about it, right?
I have no idea. I don't know if she was coming to be nice to check up on me, or she didn't know anything happened and she was just coming to hang out or something like that. You know what I mean? But I opened his door and tried to play it cool, like, hey, what's up? And she was just like, Just came to say hi. Okay, see you later. And I never saw that chick again, ever.
Really? That was the last time you saw her?
Well, yeah, in that capacity. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
I saw her like around after that, but
man.
like as far as the chance of hooking up with her again went, totally destroyed all that. Maybe that's where my anxiety came from. Maybe it wasn't so much the blunt trauma to my head, but more the lost it with Hot Nicole.
Yeah, man. That chick was pretty fly.
So anyway, that's the story of the bike. That was a big thing at the time.
And, you know, whoever's listening, it was a lot worse than you're thinking. It was bad.
And in all my years of BMXing, that was definitely the worst. And, you know, I don't know. Whatever. So anyway.
You know what we should do? We should take a picture of that block and post that thing.
You think that's still there?
It's still there.
Really?
Well, you know, they wouldn't just lop off a block. I mean, I know the school went through some changes, but it was just additions, and, you know, now it's called something different. It used to be called Union Avenue Middle School, now it's called Hazlitt Middle School.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I just came back around this area.
Because I think Beer Street is now an elementary school, so that's like the universal middle school for all Haslatians.
Okay.
So it's called Hazlitt Middle School. But the block has to still be there because there has to be some kind of important pipes and, you know, valves and knobs in there. That has to be what that's for. You know what I mean? It's not a secret passage to the janitor's, like, you know, masturbation
Maybe it's
closet.
like a fucking Mario pipe, and that's how the janitor like real quick gets to the other side of the school.
I
Like
know,
they're
that's what I was
like,
thinking.
there's throw up in the gym, and it's like boink 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 boink, bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. But I remember when actually wrapping this back into video games and us as children, I remember your lying ass.
Well, telling you that I beat Zelda when I didn't even own the game?
No.
That was somebody else.
I remember you telling me that
I know what you're going to say.
in Mario Brothers that there was like a certain move that you had to do in that
backstroke.
in that waterboard, and if you hit like a fucking brick the right way, you would do like a backstroke.
Uh-huh.
And I sat there for fucking weeks trying to do this, like trying to fucking do this. And there was no internet back then. This was like 87.
I promote determination, baby.
Yeah, for weeks and weeks and weeks. And really what ended up happening was Ritchie didn't know what the fuck he was talking about and thought that he felt left out. So he made some shit up to make
I don't think I had a Nintendo yet.
to make it seem like you knew more than anybody else. And yeah, and still to this day, if I play Mario Brothers, I try to do that backstroke. It's never going to work.
Imagine
though, I
you
guess.
can.
It was, like, it's a
But that
positive-
was my other video game lie is actually pretty hilarious because I was talking to some kid that was in our grade, and let's just say he is a turtle with arthritis, and we're talking about Zelda, and I never played. I don't think I owned Zelda. I kind of hated that game a little bit.
Oh, so you were talking to this kid back in the... I thought you were like reminiscing with him recently, but you're saying you're talking with...
Yeah,
right.
like 5th grade, you know, and we're talking about Zelda. And he's asking me how to beat a certain board. So I'm like just telling him things. I knew what the premise of Zelda was. So I gave him this random advice on how to beat this board. And it was just some made up shit. I never owned the game. I just wanted to act like I beat the board, you know? And I told him some random advice, and he comes into school the next day, and he's like, I beat the board. I was like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, yeah, I did exactly what you said. I was like, holy shit, I got to get this game and kick its ass now. I know what it's all about.
Well, you probably just said fucking stab shit with a sword. I mean, what else did you
No,
do?
I said, like, you got to move this rock, and you get a special, like, you know, weapon behind it, and that's how you beat this thing. You know what I mean?
There is
Dude,
a lot of rock moving and weapon.
Dude,
in
move the
Zelda.
rock and beat the board. He
Wow.
was a happy turtle.
I always thought in Zelda, and this is
God, if he ever hears this, he's going to know we called him a turtle with arthritis. But he had the best penmanship around.
well, why don't you get more specific? Maybe.
He knows already. It's too late.
What was I going to say? So anyone who's familiar with Zelda, the first thing you have to do in that game is go get that sword from that dude in the cave. You don't have to move a rock, but you have to go get a sword. Anyway, and this is how stupid I was as a kid. As it says, master using it, and you can have this. I think I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but it says master using it, and you can. So basically, meaning
Get
that
your skills up.
yeah, if you master using this, then you can have it and use it.
Yeah.
But I thought what it meant was that there was some master that was using it, and I can have it. And I never understood.
Where's
it.
this master?
Yeah, I was like, well, if the master's using it, why could I have it? I don't know. That was how stupid I was when I was a kid. I didn't know this was going to be the video game show.
Yeah, but Nintendo, man, come on. I mean, it's not like we're talking about like role-playing games or Assassin's Creed or any of that crap. I mean, those, don't get me wrong, like the games look great, they're cool to play, but like just, the way that they suck kids in, like we played our fair share of video games, but once someone was at your window throwing rocks saying we had to go down the block because everyone's just talking on the street corner, we put the game on pause and we got out of the house. You know what I mean? Like,
see, this is not what I want this podcast to be. Is to be a bunch of older dudes talking about back in my day.
Yeah, well, it's not about, the video game thing. It is, it's a, what's it called? It's an epidemic,
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I think so. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see kids out doing things?
You're
ever?
right. No, you're right about that.
Never.
And I think we talked about that
bikes,
last episode a little bit too.
Oh, it's true, man. You never see.
Well, it's because you have everything in home now.
Manhunt.
We also, but the thing is that in order to find pictures of a naked chick, we literally had to go scour through dumpsters or find like like the random tree house in the woods,
or like
and
the
shit.
kid whose dad was a pervert.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, right. Like the kid who lived around the corner from me. Like I remember, like I was in his fucking shed in the backyard, and we like found his dad's Playboys, and like it was the happiest moment of my life.
Around which corner? Because remember when that dude's shed blew away and all his Playboys blew all over the block? It was like a hurricane.
Yeah,
that is hilarious.
Yeah, so
I wish I saw him scooping up all the Playboys. That is so funny.
Yeah, there was a friend of ours in elementary school put together a pretty impressive Playboy and Penthouse collection.
Super perv.
And was squirreling them all away in the shed at his parents' house.
Squirreling.
And would sneak out there every once in a while and take a look at a couple titties, feel good about himself, put them back in. And so a few years later, I don't even know if it was a few years later. I don't know how long it was, but anyway,
it was after an impressive collection was built up. That's
there was probably, I'm going to say, I'm estimating here, but I'm probably going to say there was about 50 fucking episode what are they called? Issues.
Yeah.
And then a hurricane came whipping through. It was a real hurricane, but like it was whatever the hell it was, whatever storm it was enough to rip the shed off from its foundation, and the shed tipped over, and then these Playboys and penthouses just went spreading all over the whole block. Like they were blown everywhere, and this dude was freaking out, like fucking running around trying to collect them all.
Running around in his boxers trying to scoop up Playboys while his mom yelled at him. That is hilarious.
Like he looked out the window and he's like, "Man, this storm is holy shit!" Ran outside and just started scooping shit up, and we were all just laughing at him.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I wish I seen that.
You were on the wrong side of the tracks.
I know.
You missed out.
Footbridge.
So, yeah, look, we're coming to the end of this already.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're pretty much summing up 7th grade here. Between the bike fall and the Playboys.
I wanted to talk about that bike story because it's fucking, I don't know if it came off as severe as it was through this podcast, but
it was severe.
Sometimes I'll get like a pressure on the left side of my face and
really?
Shit like that. Yeah, and what freaked me out is, you ever see the show 6 Feet Under?
No.
All right, well, for anybody at home who's seen 6 Feet Under, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But the Peter Krause's character, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember all the names. But Peter Krause's character, who's the main character in the show, he gets into a car accident and he ends up getting this thing where I forget what it's called, and I can't really look it up right now because we're having Wi-Fi problems. But it's basically this thing where like because of the impact on his face, like the veins got like tangled up, and I know that I'm not doing any medical justice to this. So people, whoever's listening to this now and knows what I'm talking about is probably like, you're saying the complete wrong thing. But anyway, the gist of it is,
whenever I don't know what something is, I always call it an embolism, because that always sounds like
embolisms scare me. It might be.
You know what that is?
No,
I use that for everything.
I think, yeah,
because I don't know what it is, but if you say that shit,
I think it's like related to like a blood clot. Or something
people
like that.
take that shit seriously, like embolism, and then they start worrying.
So anyway, this guy, he got this thing where like the veins, like the blood wasn't going through the veins the right way, or the veins were tangled up or some shit, and that was like the ailment that he had. And he ends up fucking dying from it in the show. Well, spoiler alert, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen 6 Feet Under yet, maybe you want to shut this off for the next, or fast forward for the next 30 seconds.
Too late, dude's dead.
But he ends up fucking dying of it, and like in a pretty crazy way too. Like he's sitting there, and he's talking to his girlfriend, and he starts trying to say that his left arm's numb, and he starts going numb arm.
That's
numb
always
arm,
stage one.
Narm, 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 and then he falls over. It's like crazy. So I, as the hypochondriac that I am, at the time that I was watching that show, like literally started freaking out because I was like, shit. I think the reason I have all these pressures on the left side of my head is because of this bike accident, and I probably have what Peter Krause had, and sooner or later I'm screaming NARM and falling on the fucking
Did
floor.
you get a NARM?
No, well, the thing with anxiety and panic attacks, which I'm sure a lot of people listening to this suffer from and probably know, is that you could literally like make yourself feel. So like if you're having anxiety, like there's been times where I felt like, okay, I'm having a stroke, or okay, I'm having a heart attack, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if like you're having an anxiety attack and you start thinking like, oh man, I hope that my left arm doesn't go numb, your fucking left arm will go numb.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. Like that's the weirdest thing about.
Yeah, but you have like this superpower because, not to go off topic real quick, but we were watching Faces of Death that one time. This is like really freaky because this is like borderline clairvoyance mixed with a little like supernatural shit here, because we're watching Faces of Death, and it's this one where this dude starts handing out stuff because he's gonna blow his brains out, so he's giving out all his like possessions and valuables.
No, that's not true at all. It's the most famous one. It was the
Bud R. Melvin. What is that his name?
Bud Melvin's from the Letterman show.
I don't know what's his name. Something like that.
Yeah, it was like
Larry Bud Melvin. Is that the same dude?
That's Larry Bud Melvin from the David Letterman show. And although he is deceased, it was not from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
So what's this guy's name?
It was like Bud R. Dwyer, I think.
Bud R.
Yes.
Well, something
like that.
It's Bud R.
Now I have no idea. Now I got to look it up.
Now what happened to Bud R. was he gives out all his possessions, like, when people kill themselves, they give out their stuff to people. So he's giving out his stuff.
I also don't think that's true.
And then, what do you mean? That's exactly what happened.
I thought he was making like a speech in front of
He was making
okay.
But he started handing things out to people. I don't know, maybe it was like things he had to do for work, but it was a speech, and he's handing out things. But then he takes out his final envelope, and it's a 32 special. And the dude takes it out, everyone starts screaming, blows his brains out, and his nose starts gushing blood after he blows his brains out.
Right.
And we're all watching this together, and the second his nose starts gushing blood, Dev's nose starts gushing blood for no reason at all. Like, your nose doesn't bleed from sitting watching TV.
Well, okay, so it definitely wasn't some sort of clairvoyance, although I would love to have some special power like that.
It was something.
I think it was more just it might have been a little dry in there, or it was just a coincidence. I know how it was freaky for everybody.
That is serious, because nosebleeds are what, like one every 5 years, and you have one the same exact time as Larry Bud Melvin.
Was it yeah, see right here, I'm reading Wikipedia right now. On that day, Dwyer called a news conference.
It is Dwyer. But is it Bud R?
It's Bud R.
Yeah, I knew that was
I got it.
going on.
Bud R. Dwyer. On that day, Dwyer calls a news conference in the Pennsylvania state capital of Harrisburg, where he killed himself in front of a gathered reporters with a .357 caliber revolver. I don't think he gave anything to anybody. He called a news conference and was like,
okay.
yeah, this
like
place
he was
sucks
handing
and I'm
stuff
fucking
out.
out.
It looked like he was handing things out to people, and then he takes out his final envelope.
Yeah.
It was the Tray 5.7.
And so, yeah, and then my nose started. But, I mean...
on cue, though.
At that point, were we into the things that would make your nose bleed? Because that might be another possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we were in Greer's room. Oops, last name. Who cares? We were in his room, which would make it high school, which would make it too late.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, so that could be it. There could have been a lot of things, but I guess that is weird. As this guy's his last blood is pouring out of his thing, and I remember I was stunned.
I
was stunned by it, and I turned around to you guys, and I was like holding my nose, and I was like, "Guys, what is happening to me?"
Like when you get shot with the silencer, and you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Blood.
Wait, so now we got onto the Bud Melman thing, and
see, now you know his name.
Bud R. Dwyer thing, and what was I saying before that? I'm totally lost now.
Damn. Maybe something about the severity of your bike accident?
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I was talking about panic attacks and how.
Right.
And anyway, yeah, and the thing with that was that is like if you tell a doctor that you're having well, nowadays they're like
give you Xanax.
Ching, yeah, and they can't wait to just load you up with drugs that are eventually going to ruin your fucking life. But but back then, when I would, and well, I guess they sold drugs back then too, but
Yeah, back then it was the lewds.
yeah, no, we were not alive in the 70s.
What? They had lewds till the 90s. Lewds got section. What is it? Section 1 classified. What? Schedule 1. Schedule 1 in like 92, 93.
Well, I'm going to go on record and say I've never got any lewds from the doctor. I am not the Wolf of
wish
Wall
we
Street.
were around the lewd days.
I think the lewd days were the 70s and the 80s. I don't think there were any lewds by the 90s.
Well, yeah, that's when, they were the disco biscuits, remember?
Right.
But they were around, but like they weren't in their heyday. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
So
yeah, but the doctor would tell you that you're having panic attacks, and then they would tell you to breathe, like just to breathe. And my worry was always like, okay, I get that. Like if you breathe or like try to meditate or something like that you might be able to ease the panic a little bit. But also, like, what if I am having a heart attack? So like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So like, what if I'm having a heart attack and I'm like, oh, this is a panic
Right.
attack.
And
Let me
they're
just
telling you to
breathe through this,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden my family has to be like, well, I don't know. You were sitting on the couch breathing, and then you just fucking died. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess things get a lot worse, and people know. But I mean, that's what my younger brother. He's got anxiety. I mean, my whole family's riddled with anxiety. It comes from that old Italian crap where everybody worries about everything and everyone and doesn't tell anybody anything when they're sick, and it's the stupidest thing in the world. But we all have severe anxiety. I mean, I chose.
You suffer from anxiety?
Yeah, I get anxiety, but I chose the self-medication route, which keeps me anxiety-free 24/7. So.
See, that even worsens my anxiety.
Yeah, no, it makes mine way better, and so I don't have anxiety, for that reason. But my younger brother, he's got it too, and he tried the self-medication route. That's not his gig at all. He doesn't like it at all. He hates drugs. So he's a very healthy dude. He does everything healthy. He's like 0.0001% body fat. He does like the caveman diet. He goes to the gym every day. He eats like nuts and berries.
He only eats what he kills.
Pretty much like that. I guess that's what the caveman diet is.
Like Joe Rogan.
You could only eat what like a caveman would have ate, like a fish on a spear and like a nut. You know what I mean? so that's how he eats, and he's really healthy. But like his anxiety cure is breathing. He meditates and
Sure.
he'll
Well, I do that now.
breathing
Right.
exercises, and he said it totally helps him. And he's like, you should try it. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Reach for the bottle.
Yeah, I do that now. I meditate all the time. You know what I mean? I'm an advocate for meditation.
Yeah.
I meditate twice a day. It's definitely changed my life, especially in the past 6 months. Where for the listeners at home, I've the last 6 months, or actually probably the last year of my life has been fucking rough. Like bad shit has happened, and we'll eventually talk about all that. That's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, is because, like I said in the last episode, the concept is kind of like two dudes that are kind of like down in life right now, trying to like just relate and be friends again, and then eventually hopefully there's people out there that can relate with us and are going through the same kind of things and stuff like that. So we'll get to all that. But yeah, I meditate. Anyway, we're over our time.
It works. And also, real quick, a lot of success, like, recovering addicts that actually stay recovered, because I think it's like a 1% chance of you staying recovered when you're an addict. But usually that 1% end up like yoga fanatics.
Sure, yeah.
Meditation, you know what I mean?
Exercise, which is huge.
Yeah. Like that's usually, unless you're super God, like it's either religion or yoga.
Right.
Like pretty much that's the only way you're going to stay clean.
Well, I'll tell you what. In the past, I have really been exercising and meditating for about 6 months now. I'd say full time. I always exercised, but real hardcore, eating healthy, meditating, exercising, and the whole like I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and I'm not even going to drink. Like,
yeah, right.
And I swear to God, it really does. Like, I'm getting to the point.
That's cool. Stay sober and suave and just snag a drunk chick. It's a good
that'd be
idea.
nice, yeah.
It's really good.
But yeah, I mean, the more you do that, it does. It almost makes like last Saturday, we had to go to a party, and we were drinking all day, and I ended up getting hammered, and and by 10 o'clock I was fucking just totally sloshed. Like there was brownouts. I don't remember some of it. I ended up friggin' like hanging out, like meeting up with somebody and hanging out till like 4 a.m. that I probably shouldn't have, and all this, all the shit that you do when you're drunk. You know what I mean? And it just don't feel good about. Like normally I would be like, yeah, I did this, I did that. It just doesn't feel good. And I wanted to get up and run the next day. I couldn't, like all that stuff. You know what I mean? So like I could, and I've only done it this far, and I'm sure that I'll fall back into a crazy drinking binge at one point. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all healthy.
I
and
hope
everything
by
like
like
that.
I'm talking 5-6 podcasts in, we're gonna get wrecked.
We will do one once we're established and we have some listeners. And hopefully, and things are going okay, we'll do a podcast.
Oh
where
man,
it was not going to be good. I mean,
that's when
it won't.
code names go out the window.
Well,
and
we might-
secrets start spilling.
Well, I guess what we'll probably have to do is maybe we'll bring like a more responsible human being in. We'll do like a
Watch
3
us.
thing, and then me and you will do like get as drunk as possible, like as quick as possible for an hour or something. We'll figure that out. We'll do that.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I know you can. All right, so we gotta go.
We got an outro song?
Well, we don't have any. We don't have any Wi-Fi in here because you steal your neighbor's
that's
Wi-Fi.
that lack of techno, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, I didn't see your science oven, by the way. Is it here?
My what?
Your science oven. And do you have a science oven?
Oh
here?
yeah, there's a science oven here. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play this song from our high school band, and we're not gonna play much of it. It's just gonna take us out. So whatever. Don't judge, motherfuckers. Anyway, we'll see you back. Oh, and obviously we don't have a name yet. We can't think of a name for this podcast. Sooner or later, by like
this is gonna go on for a while. I feel.
well, we're not gonna be able to put these episodes up until we have a name. So
right.
we're gonna have to figure that out. So hopefully next podcast, which we'll be recording in a couple days, we'll have a name for it by then. But if not, whatever. As of now, this is the Nameless Podcast with Devin, Ritchie, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. For more episodes, visit awkwardhighfive.com.